The Wii, everyone's favorite console, right? I will forgive you if you say no. It's fine, not everyone can see its greatness. For me it's basically Nintendo's PlayStation 2. Tons of amazing games, tons of shovelware. What about the Wii games though? With that I don't mean the Wii games, but the Wii games. Why did I even try this joke when it's pretty obvious from the thumbnail what I'm gonna talk about? All of these were basically made to show off what the Wii can do, and there's two of them you couldn't really escape because one of them came with a console and the other one came with a second Wiimote. I don't even have to say their names because you know what they are anyways. The most iconic Wii game, for some even the Wii game. Everyone has played it. You, your parents, your grandma, anyone you have known that never even played games before played it. Even if they only played it once. A simple little game that everyone can understand. Pick your Mii and just have fun. Look at how happy my Mii is, mostly because he was a part of the legendary Nintendo All-Star Gamers clan. Yep, there were Wii clans where you played against other clans in multiplayer games. Just look at this amazing homepage that totally wasn't a template on some build your own homepage page. Also, let's be honest, everyone had a Hitler Mii, some even had two. You will see him pop up sometimes, and I do not stand for his values, they were pretty damn bad. A true mini head. Basically, you could call Wii Sports a tech demo, because there's really not that much to it in the end. Tennis is pretty fun but just too basic, and eventually both players just started waggling around without being able to have a real match. Or maybe I just did that with my friends because we were young. I would still do it today. Waggling can be really fun, but not in the summer heat at night, since that's where I recorded my Wii Sports gameplay, and I have to apologize for how badly I sucked at boxing, which is probably my favorite one from these sports. Coming back to it and having a fairly high rank in it was a nightmare though, because I got beaten harshly without being able to do much about it, because you can't really just spam your punches. It actually gets pretty hard and everyone knows why eventually. Mad. He's not that hard though, I could easily destroy him outside of the summer because I was sweating, and I'm also sweating while recording this because I hate the summer heat. There's also golf, and I will just ignore it. I don't really like golf. No game ever could make golf fun for me except for Panya, which I actually own, but I mostly loved it for its anime style. It's just really fun to unlock anime outfits for your anime girl and make her dress up in them. I would even like the Mario Golf games if they would make me dress up Rosalina. I would love them then, but sadly that doesn't exist. Baseball is just kinda meh. I know it's huge in Japan and America, but here in Europe, it would be really hard to find someone who is into it. Hitting the ball with the bat is fun, but the throwing part is just kinda, you throw the ball, yay. I am extremely nostalgic for the Wii and Wii Sports, but Nintendo was smart for putting this in for free since it's not exactly that great. Shout out to our friends in Japan who actually had to buy it since it wasn't packed in there. We all have amazing memories with it, but mostly because we played it with our family and all that. Maybe also for grinding out a perfect bowling score, but overall I personally never played it much by myself as a kid and didn't even know there were medals to gain. A couple of months ago, I watched a stream where someone was trying to get all gold medals and struggled hard at it, so I thought, maybe I should do the same. And what can I say, most of them are actually pretty damn hard, but I got some in tennis or even boxing. Even those can't really save it to be a super duper great game or anything like that, but it didn't need to be. It perfectly did what needed to be done, a fun little experience that can show you what the Wii can offer. Now this is where it's at. Who needs Wii Sports if you got Wii Sports Resort, unless you like playing boxing and baseball and normal tennis. Those are all gone, and instead of having somewhat normal sports, it's more like a little collection of smaller sports instead of trying to emulate a full sport. I know table tennis is just as much of a real sport as normal tennis, but it's smaller, you know? Sadly, they also brought back golf. Good for the golfers. I still think it was a bit weird how the Wii didn't got its own golf or tennis Mario game. There was a new play control version of the GameCube tennis game, but the Wii just seems so fitting, and then they just made one of the worst tennis games ever for the Wii U. Nice. Before you even get to play any sports, you have to jump out of a flying plane and go skydiving, which is a neat way to start the game, except for people who are afraid of heights. I'm not sure how a phobia like that gets triggered by a cute video game though. People who are deadly afraid of spiders can't play games with spiders without losing it, even if the spiders are somewhat cute. But would people who are deadly afraid of heights get really scared by this since it's so unrealistic and cutesy? It sounded as if I made fun of table tennis earlier, but I absolutely love it. You can put some spin onto your balls and just smash them right over, and it works so well. I could play it all day, and there's also a ball return mode where you have to return as many balls as possible while being able to hit cans. These games also have medals, and some of them are pretty easy, like hey, hit 50 points, simple things like that. But then there's also some like hit 50 return balls without hitting the guy into his face, which feels impossible to me. Every time I try to avoid him, it just makes me want to hit the ball right at him instead. Maybe I'm just mean. Basketball is pretty fun, even if I suck at it. It just does feel really realistic with how you have to throw the ball. The last time I played basketball was a long time ago in school, so I totally know what I'm talking about. It's even in Switch Sports now. Only took them like 2 years to add it, even though this already existed like this. Yay. I'm still sad that it was such a disappointment and step back to this. SWAT play is okay, but speed slice is where it's really at. You have to slice the things falling down into a specific direction as fast as you can before your opponent can. So simple, yet so fun. You will hear me say this a lot. There's a medal for slicing something before it lands, and you can't even really see what direction you have to slice it before it lands. So to get it, you just have to wiggle, waggle, and I got it here. Look at that skill. I'm so proud of myself, even though I'm not. Another great SWAT play mode is Showdown. Just bash tons of enemies. Reminds me a bit of the very last part in Skyward Sword with all those bokoblins. I was never a big fan of canoeing, but this time I really enjoyed it. Hold the Wiimote like a paddle and paddle away. Can you ride a bike? Because I can't. Actually I can. Not really well though. I'm a bit afraid of riding a bicycle nowadays after not having done it for a long time. Being so close to cars is just scary. Swing the Wiimote and nunchuck back and forth, but try not to use all of your stamina and get first place, which I did. Because I don't settle for less. I actually do. Archery is also great, except that it will mess you up a bit if you're right-handed, because you have to use the Wiimote in the left hand. Most people also probably underestimate the wind, but I always overestimate it. Because I am short and don't weigh a lot, so sometimes when I go out it's hard to move when it's really windy. So I have way too much respect for the wind, and there's just something aesthetic about the time of day changing with each stage. One of the returning sports is bowling, and it's more bowling, and even has the 100-pin bowling game, the one everyone knows for being able to cheat by throwing the ball onto the lane and it just bonks them all over. I can't really do it, so enjoy the clip from some other YouTuber. There's a few more like Frisbee, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. Totally not because I suck hardcore at it. I wanna smash and throw hard, not do it gently like we have to do here. The dog is cute though. I prefer cats. I love the game mode where you can fly around the island and just explore it. It's so relaxing and it adds a nice touch to it, being able to learn more about its world when it's not really needed for a game like this. Like, did we need to know the lighthouse was supposed to be smaller? We don't, but now we know, and it's cute to know. So just enjoy finding new paths and collecting all of the information points to become the person who knows all that hidden lore behind Boohoo Island. Like, without this you wouldn't even really know that the golf courses are so far away on a separate island. Or maybe you would know if you actually play the golf mode, because I didn't. I still hate you, golf. While I love Wii Sports Resort, it feels like a 50-50 kind of game for me. Half of the sports and the game modes are fun, while the other half is just not for me. Still a good game though that they should have built on instead of building back with Switch Sports. We waited so long for a new game like this, and then it was just less instead of more. A minigame collection of 9 games. Why 9? I love the number 9, but it just feels so unfinished to leave something at a 9. Just put in some random other minigame to make it 10, or take one away to make it 8 because 8 isn't that close to the magical 10 that you would expect. First you got the shooting range, which is exactly what you think it is. You shoot the targets and they give points. Yay, showing that you can use your Wiimote to point and shoot. The most basic use of it in any game. Can't hate on it, it even lets you shoot yourself. Find Me is a game where you have to find the Miis the game wants you to find, like 2 lookalikes. Easy enough, but I am gonna out myself as an idiot. When I was recording I was like, what does it even mean? Find the 2 odd Miis. What is considered an odd Mii? Ugly? Weird? But no, here it was me having to find the 2 Miis that move their heads into a different direction than the others. And I mean, they are the odd ones out, so the word odd fits, but just say differently anyways for dummies like me. It even took me a while watching my own recording to figure this out. Table tennis is just you having to return the ball. That's it, simple but fun. For a few tries. I even got a full 100 on my first try when I played it after such a long time. A natural born gamer with a Y. Pose me is like human Tetris. Get into the pose that fits into the bubble and turn it around and it's dressing a cell. Not the worst, but also not the best, except that it just has random animals and insects in the background. And some flowers. That makes it kinda cool. I don't even know why. Air hockey, which is just air hockey, and you have to score as many goals as possible. Each goal making it harder and harder to score because the computer suddenly remembers it has a brain. I wish they would have just made this a full version of air hockey against the CPU, being able to pick a difficulty and play a best of 10 or something like that without always having the CPU start being dumb. Even if I can relate to that. Billiards is billiard, just hit the balls into the holes. Ha. And maybe that's just me, but I never quite got the hang out of putting a Wiimote back and forth like this. It just never feels right to do it in most games with some exceptions. Maybe I just hate pulling on things, but it doesn't feel comfortable. It makes me feel every time I swing the Wiimote back and forth, it just messes it up completely. Fishing is fishing. Some of these names really don't lie. Move the Wiimote around and try to get the bonus fish, or any fish as long as they are not the small fry, which is a bit mean. Even if you only catch a tiny fish, you should still be happy, but always throw them back unless you plan to eat them. I like the art style of the fish, reminds me of old kids books that you read when you were young, like that fat fuck caterpillar who never had enough. Charge is finally a game that's somewhat fun again, for me at least. Tilt the Wiimote around to brutally hurt the scarecrows with your cow and make sure to jump over the hurdles. It shouldn't be so much fun, but it just is. They should make a whole game out of it. It totally wouldn't get boring after not even half an hour. Nintendo knew that they should leave the best for last, tanks. You play a little tank and have to aim your shots with your Wiimote, and it's basically a full-fledged game. There's tons of stages, different enemies, and it even is pretty damn challenging. I respect everyone who was able to beat it because I never achieved it. One day I will. Your shots also bounce off at walls once, so you have to use your brain sometimes to hit the enemies behind walls since they are smart and hide. I already inserted my own intelligence too often in this video already to make another dumb joke about me here. The absolute highlight, and it made it all worth it. This one actually deserves its own little game. Come on Nintendo, put it onto the eShop. It's a bit just like Wii Sports. It really isn't the type of game you would buy if you didn't got it for free, since it was included in every Wiimote you bought. If you actually had to pay money for this, it surely wouldn't be out of place if it was placed between some other shovelware party games on the Wii. Sounds harsh, but that's just how it is. Wii Play Motion is the kind of game that really deserves the title of a sequel. Every sequel is a sequel, but sometimes you don't really feel it, you know? Here you totally do. The minigames are way more fun and unique. Even something like the shooting range, which gets reused actually, is a full-fledged out experience now, with multiple stages, different enemies and all that. Even though I feel bad for shooting dinosaurs, I love them. They lost some of that coolness by turning into birds and chickens, but nobody could hate on dinos. It's an actual game and doesn't just feel like a tech demo, something we play felt more like. You got the countdown, a minigame where you have to hold the remote vertically to stack ice cream scoops and make sure it doesn't fall over till you reach the outer end of our universe. And it has another mode where it's actually swirly and you have to perfectly swirl it into the count instead of stacking it, which I am not good at, as you can see. I would still eat it though, if it's vegan, because I'm lactose intolerant and it sucks hard, but I think I speak for everyone with this condition when I say we just eat it anyways, despite knowing we shouldn't, and then suffering the consequences of it. Why is it even allowed to become lactose intolerant? How was my body able to eat it for years and then suddenly decided no, not anymore? That should be illegal. Veggie Guardian is smash remotes and it works so perfectly. You bang up and down and to the left and right with the Wiimote and just destroy these moles. So simple yet so much fun. It even has a story. The moles steal all the veggies for the mole king, so he's happy and can grow even bigger, with the little moles getting nothing. Capitalism, am I right? Also the only platinum medal I have gotten when I played it, so maybe I'm a bit biased. You can skip stones and have silly stones and do frog noises or throw a whole UFO. I did not record my sound because I was watching streams while playing it, so sorry, I can't show you those silly sounds. Which are also the best part of it, because I suck at this. It's just not really fun either really. You basically play it like it's bowling in Wii Sports or Frisbee, but it's just stone skipping. I would rather do this in real life, even though I would never ever be able to make it skip more than once. Mi Pause is back, this time it's plus though. Very important, instead of pressing a button to change your pose, it does it automatically and you have to move your Wiimote around to make it fit. A somewhat better version, but still not quite that great, especially since they removed the animals in the background. It lost its charm because of it. If it had random stuff in the back, I would like it more. Trigger Twist is the shooting range, but in way bigger since you can actually swing your Wiimote left and right to turn around, a full 360 view. You know why they call it the Xbox 360, right? Because if you see it, you will turn 360 degrees and walk away. You got the farm alien stage like in the first game, but better, a ninja stage and a dinosaur one, and they all have boss battles even. It took a bit to get used to it because the cursor is a bit slower, mostly so you don't accidentally go left and right and all over the place. Jump Park is way too addicting for what it is. You aim and rotate your Mii with the Wiimote and have it collect gems, and after collecting enough you go to the goal. There's a few power-ups like a magnet that makes your range way bigger, and I really wish you could do something like this in real life without breaking your neck. Looks really fun to do. Tita Targets is one of my dream games because I love marble games on the Wii. That little marble minigame in Twilight Princess, amazing. Kuro Rinpa 1 and 2, some of the best games ever. This also, it's a bit different than the others though, because instead of trying to get to a goal, you have to smash the ball into the goals. Hold the Wiimote sideways and just have a jolly time, because that's what I did with it. Spooky Search took me a while to really get. You have to find invisible ghosts, because I mean, ghosts are invisible, through the speaker and your Wiimote, and with the help of the Mii's pointing into the general direction of it, so you swirl the Wiimote around to the left, top, behind you, and when the speaker is loud enough, you press B and hold the button to pull the ghost into the vacuum cleaner. Pretty fun once you get the hang out of it. Wind Runner is you running with the wind, with your little umbrella. Umbrellas are peak aesthetic. Nobody really likes to carry it, but you just look really cool with it. Better than cigarettes or other unhealthy things that people call aesthetic. It looks pretty easy and it's also easy to get through the stages, but it takes quite a skill to be able to collect tons of points. One of those games you just try out and think, well, this may be okay, but then you play it more and think, wow, I'm having a lot of fun with this. Treasure Twirl is maybe the most lacking one, kinda. You twirl your rope to go collect treasure and try not to get hit by anything. Not everything can be a home run after all. Maybe it also just gave me PTSD because it reminded me too much of Tiger Tiger. Even though I loved it, just not when you have to play it too much before the season pass gave you enough currency to upgrade Poppy without grinding this. I love it how they even gave it a remix in Smash Ultimate. Flutterfly is my least favorite one. Just blast air into your ballooned up Mii, because I guess someone likes to inflate things, and get to the goal. It's just not really fun to use a Wiimote as a fan. I actually lied. Star Shuttle is the worst one for me. I just don't vibe with it. But hey, look, you can do this on the main title screen. In the end, even if some of the later minigames weren't that great, it actually is a pretty damn good minigame collection, since many of them also have a second mode, a third mode even, multiple stages, things like that. They really stepped up their game, just like how it was in Wii Sports Resort. Even as a standalone title, it would have been an okay game for $30, but just like the first game, they included it whenever you bought a Wiimote. It had the Wii Motion Plus. If you want to have a really good party game though, you won't have to wait long. Wii Party is the best Mario Party game on the Wii. Prove me wrong. Somehow I never warmed up with those on the Wii, probably because I already played so much Mario Party on the Nintendo 64 and GameCube. Eventually a franchise like that just runs out of steam for you and you need a break from it. Wii Party is just Mii Party, Mario Party, but with Mii's instead of Toad and his friends. And a bit differently, even though the globe-trotting mode is basically the game's version of a normal Mario Party. I have never said the word party so much because I was never invited to any. You go around the globe and try to get souvenirs with your coins, eat the local cuisine, things like that, and for each of them you get a photo. So in short, just collect the photos since they're like the stars of the game. After everyone had their turn, there's a minigame. Sounds pretty familiar. Playing a whole round with bots is just way too depressing though, since it takes a long time for them to move. I don't mind real people moving slowly except on the sidewalk, but if you're playing this alone, you just sit there and think, what am I doing with my life? That's just one of many game modes though. We even have bingo here. Choose a bingo card and hope luck is on your side and pulls the me out of the machine that you need. There's also minigame boards, and if you get one of those, the person who wins gets to pick a me they want. In my round there was a single minigame, so it was basically 90% luck because there was nothing I could have done differently, except for picking a different bingo card, but that's also luck, so it's actually fun somehow. Looking forward to playing lots of bingos in the retirement home. Actually, I would rather die before living in one of those. My favorite is the board game Island. It's the best and most compact way to get screwed by everything. Just get to the end as the first person. Simple enough, right? As if. It always starts with the worst minigame in the game against bots because they will read your inputs. You have to pick 1, 3 or 5, and if you're the only person who picked one of those numbers, you get to walk that many steps. It's totally random against bots, so it's not up to you. If you play with actual people though, it's a nice psychological test for everyone, trying to read them and having to put on a poker face. It doesn't really matter anyway, since whoever wins first only gets to move first in the first round. Afterwards, whoever wins the next minigame gets to move first. You do get the golden dice though to move more spaces, if the dice like you. I also did a nice comeback win here, yay. Just for all of it to not matter. Everything goes well, you win every minigame, just for Holly to land on the tornado field to push you back. Fine, I can accept that. Just so Catherine can land on the UFO field to change her place with mine, which ruins everything I had to do so far. I won all minigames, rolled nice numbers just for this to happen. Right after Cole also decides to land on a 1 vs 3 minigame field where the bot just squeezed me into the corner. I could not move anymore. They tried their hardest to make me lose, even though we are on the same team. Why did they try? Why are they walking into me? Like, let me escape. On the island, you also have to destroy objects in your way. You have to roll a number that's at least the number they have or a higher one. This also helps the other players. If you break it, then it stays broken, so others can easily catch up, especially if you fail to try first. A bit mean for the guy in first, but understandable. Everyone should feel like they still have a chance of winning, right? Better than Monopoly, where you know who's gonna win and then it keeps going for way too long without any chance of a comeback. There's also me of a kind where the Miis all wear different colored outfits and you have to try your best to match them, like 3 red Miis on top and 3 green Miis on the bottom, with some other things that give points, like only having girls or boys in a row. Depending on your position in last minigame, you could be the first to pick or the last. Like you can see, there's just really a lot of stuff here, even for single players, like a solo mode where you have to pick your path through different minigames and have to become first every time or else you lose a life. The minigames themselves are also varied, but sometimes you feel like, hey, don't I know this one from Wii Party a bit? It's hard to make so many games without some of them feeling a bit similar, but mostly they do feel new. Look, they even have Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think I do need to talk about this baby with my wife though, something isn't quite right. Also there's this minigame where you have to take a photo of Miis, but mostly when they smile. Whoever takes a photo with the most Mii smiling in it wins. What do you do though when your Mii has a face like this? Can you guess his name? It's Bud, because his face is a bud. He was smiling when I took the picture though. Overall, like I said earlier, probably the best party game on the Wii. For me. That rhymed. Cool. This is probably one of the most bare-bones chess games of all time, and I don't fully understand its existence, but I don't understand my own either. It's chess on the Wii, without anything special. Classic chess. 0 motion controls. Why? You don't even use the pointer to type your name. I'm saying this as someone who actually loves to play chess. Sometimes. I had to stop playing it because it makes me mad and tilted me too much. There's only 3 games that do that to me: Smash Bros. Online, football games and chess. I played League of Legends for around 11 years and never got a single ban or warning because that game is one of the most relaxing games I've ever played. How? It's a team game. I have to try my best, and if that isn't enough and we lose because of my mates, totally not because of me, then I have to accept it. Accepting defeat like that is easier when you're not the only reason. In team games, I don't really get mad. I only get mad when it's me, only, even though that makes no sense, but to me it is the way it works. In chess or smash, I can only blame myself for the loss, and it gets me tilted to feel inferior to others. My highest rating was 1200 elo on chess.com before I went on to a tilting spree to go all the way down to like 800. I know, not super high, but playing it casually, without reading up any extra strategies and things like that, I think I was pretty decent, but it has been a while, so the gameplay in the background will destroy your ears and eyes, mostly your eyes, if you are quite good at chess. Why am I telling you my chess life story? Because there's nothing else to say. It's chess. You can change the theme and unlock a new one with each CPU level you beat, and back in the day, you could have also played it online. It probably was the game with the best working online mode in a Nintendo published game on the Wii. I think, because not even Nintendo could make a bad online service for chess, right? It's a bit sad that it just lacks any kind of flair. Why not have a 3D views of the Mii's playing chess, or allow people to use motion controls to pick their pieces, if they want to? It obviously would be worse than using the normal controls, but it's nice to have options. Obviously, I had to save the best for last. Actually, I can't even pretend that this is any good, and it's also not the last game we're gonna talk about. There's just nothing about this game that I like. It's probably the worst game Nintendo has ever made. It's just nothing. You waggle your Wiimote and nunchuck around and that's it. You don't even need to hit the notes. Just pretend you're playing the instrument and you're good to go. Even babies wouldn't find enjoyment in this for longer than 5 seconds. But hey, you can have a fursuit, so that makes it all worth it, and this minigame where you have to pick out meats based on their pitch and some other stuff is actually somewhat fun. You also have Sebastian Tutor, the worst tutorial guide in any Nintendo game ever. I would rather play the start of Skyward Sword 10 times in a row than ever having to do the tutorial of Wii music again. It's just 8 minutes of the game telling you to play different instruments against your own will, with the most annoying me ever talking to you. Listening to him makes me understand how people can become serial killers. He's really lucky that he's not actually a real person. There's just nothing positive to say about it, and the less time I spend on it, the better. I rather would have wished for Project Hammer to be released than this, even if that game would have sucked too, most likely. Smashing things with a hammer would still be more fun than this, everything would be more fun than this. Don't even try to play this because you mostly will think, wow, it's gonna be like YouTuber bait where I can make fun of the game. No, not even that is fun. Nothing about this game is fun, nothing. There's a reason why people only remember the E3 showing and the guy going insane on the drums, because that's the only fun memory you will ever have with this game. I'm gonna do Wii Fit plus Wii Fit Plus together, since Wii Fit is not needed when you got Wii Fit Plus. It isn't really much of an upgrade and it includes everything the original already had. There's a bunch of exclusive new minigames and a few more yoga poses and stuff like that, but it really wouldn't have been worth more than 20 bucks. Maybe not even that. In general, Wii Fit isn't quite the best. It has fun minigames, but it couldn't really achieve what Ring Fit Adventure did, combining a video game with exercise. Sure, you exercise, but it's all just little games that maybe will already bore you after a bit and you never turn it on again. It's strictly either a minigame or doing the yoga poses or muscle exercises without getting anything from it except the game judging your posture or things like that. While in Ring Fit Adventure you got EXP, money to buy new items with and all that, which made it feel really rewarding outside from doing something healthy. You don't have that here, except for one thing. I could talk about my life story again, how it actually managed to make me lose weight, but I already talked about that in another video that I will link at the top, or whatever YouTubers say to that, but that was mostly for my endless desire to get called a good boy from the Wii Fit trainer, because she does tell you that you're doing a good job, and hearing you're doing a good job feels nice, even from a fictional character, because nobody will tell you that in real life. Nowadays, if you want to get into yoga, you should just get a yoga mat and watch it up on YouTube. You get way more poses like that, and doing these on a comfy yoga mat also feel way better than having to stand on the balance board, because after a bit you do feel the hardness of it on your feet. Or maybe I just have small delicate feet. So I will just show you a few minigames because that's where it's at, since it has a bunch of really fun ones like the marble one, where you have to control the platform with your body and make the marbles fall into the holes. It works well, but there's one thing that is fucked up about it. The Miis actually got turned into marbles, so your job is to free them by beating all the stages so they turn into normal Miis again. Isn't it weird? Who did that to them? Why did someone turn them into marbles? How is life as a marble? Shake your ass while trying to do math and try not to do it too badly, like me. I'm already bad at math, but having to do sports while doing math is like, why would someone even want to do that? Math is for nerds. If you like numbers, you're a nice person probably, but still a nerd. Maybe I'm a nerd too for other things, but not because I like math. Obstacle Course is the Fall Guys prototype, or also called Takeshi's Castle for boomers like me. I love watching that show on DSF with the old German dub of it. There was just something so special about it. It's exactly what it looks like. Walk on the balance board and go down and up to make a little jump and avoid everything to get to the goal. I really wish they would have turned this into an actual game. The highlight of Wii Fit Plus. Skateboarding is also kind of fun since it's so simple in comparison to the amazing balance board controls in Skated, which I've covered before. I kinda like those controls weren't that amazing, mostly because they were overcomplicated, so it's nice to kinda just skate around a bit here even if it's not much different from any other sport here. Like doing slalom on your ice skates, you just bend over a bit to move and go down with your knees to go up again to jump. Don't actually jump on the balance board though because it hates it and it will make you break your leg eventually since it has a mind on its own, so don't abuse it and don't kick your balance board, don't jump on it, and just make love to it. Not that kind of love, but just love it. Tilt City is amazing though. It's like that one game in Wii Play Motion, but instead you have to tilt your body with the balance board to control two platforms and one platform with your Wiimote to make the balls go into the white pipes. Normally having to control two different things messes up my mind, but here it worked wonderfully. Maybe I can finally call myself smart for once today. Yay. As a minigame collection for the balance board, it's alright, but for a person that actually wants to lose weight, there's way better alternatives, especially with Wii Fit Adventure, which I've beaten, and all I can say is the post-credit scene with the Wii Fit girl and the female Wii Fit trainer goes hard. It's totally real, trust me, so go and beat it. I hope we will get a second one. And those were pretty much all the Wii games, if we don't count Wii Sports Club or Wii Fit U, which are both Wii U games, so even if they're called Wii, they're not for the Wii. If I had a Wii U, I would have covered them, probably. I hope you enjoyed the video and this little journey through these classics, and not so classic games that we all had when we were younger. For most these were the Wii games that could just not be avoided. And well, it's right there in the titles. Wii games for the Wii. Nintendo kinda tried to bring it back with Switch Sports, but even earlier with 1-2 Switch. We all know how that ended though, and it makes you think, why didn't you just put that game into your Switch package for free like Wii Sports or when you buy a new pair of Joy-Cons because you started to drift. But I am sleepy, so I want to sleep. Good night, good morning, or whatever fits your time zone. Bye bye.